Guys, Greg here. You won't be able to see me today. We're going to look at the computer screen. I want to expand on that video that I did a few months ago now on the weight loss science and how the weight loss process works. Today we're going to look at numbers specifically so you can understand what eating too many calories is going to do, or not moving too much is going to do, or missing your exercise sessions is going to do, which can impact on your weight loss goals. So let's get stuck in. Now, the first thing we need to do is work out how many calories we are expending per day. And there's a few different numbers. If you remember, we've got metabolism, we've got incidental activity, and we've got exercise. So let's work out metabolism first. Now today I'm going to pretend that I'm a 45-year-old female. So my height will be, let's say, 165 centimeters, and my weight, let's call myself 75 kilos. So that gives me a resting metabolic rate of around 1400 calories, 1395. So that's the first thing that we've got. The second thing we need to do is work out our incidental activity. Now, for most of us, we don't really live very active lives. Most of us have pretty sedentary jobs, and we don't move around all that much during the day, which is a problem in itself, but it's just the way it is. So general rule of thumb is it's usually about a 10 to 15% on top of your metabolism. So let's call it, say, another, 140 odd calories. So let's call it 150 calories just to make it a nice even number for today. So we've now got our resting metabolic rate, we've got our incidental activity, and our exercise we're going to do separately. So let's key in some numbers here. This column is your calories in. And the weight loss, as we know, is calories in versus calories out. These two columns are your calories out. This one column here is metabolism and incidental. And the reason why we bulk those together is because they're not going to change much. Your metabolism obviously doesn't change unless you do that high intensity training like we do at Body Embrace, which I'll speak to you about as we get going, and how that does affect your metabolism. But for now, let's just say that it stays the same. Your incidental day-to-day, we're pretty much similar what we do throughout the day, each day of the week, and exercise is going to be done on its own. So let's key some numbers in here. So 1,550 calories for each day of the week. So we've got our 7 days here, Monday through to Sunday. And that's how many calories we're burning each day from metabolism and incidental. Then we've got exercise. Now, exercise, let's say I'm doing 3 sessions a week at Body Embrace. That's 350 calories on Monday, 350 on Wednesday, and 350 on Friday. Remember, that doesn't include the afterburn effect, but we'll talk about that soon. Let's just keep it simple for now. So we've now got all of our calories out. We've got the 3 things that we need to know that we do to burn calories. Now, calories in, the notorious calories in. So we know that the less calories we consume, the more deficit we're going to be in. Let's actually have a look and see what is going on as far as deficits go. So we know 1,200 calories. That's sort of the gold standard weight loss. Diets will always talk about 1,200 calories and nothing lower than that. If you remember from the previous video, that will cause metabolism to shut down, and we don't want that because then you're burning less calories here. So let's just say we are doing everything we need to do, and we're sticking to a really strict plan, and we consume 1,200 calories every single day on the dot. We don't go lower, we don't go higher. It's 1,200 calories every single day. Now, we know we're doing 3 exercise sessions a week. 1, 2, 3. We're alive, so our metabolism is always working. And if we look at our prediction, we're exactly 3,500 calories in deficit. If you remember, 7,000 calories is 1 kilo of body fat. That's exactly half. That was just actually, I didn't mean to do that. That's kind of nice that it's worked out that way. But we're losing half a kilo a week at this rate. Remember that your body is not mechanical, so it might be 300 or 0.3, it might be 0.6, it might be 0.5 weight loss at the end of each week. But at the end of the day, if you follow this program for 6 months, it'll predict roundabouts where you should be at the end of the day. But week to week, it might differ a little bit. Your body's not as mechanical as this spreadsheet. Sorry guys, I just watched this video back and I probably should have included what it takes to lose a kilo a week, because that's something which we all see advertised, lose 10 kilos in 10 weeks, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So let's just see what it takes to actually lose a kilo a week. That's 7,000 calories in deficit at the end of that week. So yeah, 1,200 calories, we're going to have to do that. Now, we're also pretty keen on getting ourselves moving throughout the day. Each day we sort of go for our lunchtime walks and we do a bit more movement. We park the car further away from work, all that stuff. So we take our incidental activity up by a couple of hundred. So let's call it 1,800 calories a day, not 1,550. And then we now have to crank up our exercise here. So we're still not quite at a kilo, we're 750 grams. So let's do another session at Body Embrace here. Okay, 800 grams, let's do another one. That's now 5 times a week. All right, we're gonna have to do the weekends now. Let's do another one. And almost there at 0.9. Let's do another one. And we're pretty much there at 950 grams, pretty much a kilo. Look what it takes, guys. 7 days a week of high intensity training, really pushing yourselves to the limits with your calories in. 1,200 calories, it's not very much food, and that's every single day for the week. No blowouts on Saturday, Sunday. You're moving more throughout the day, so you're going to get tired from that as well. So if you're going for that kilo a week, like you see advertised, unless you're doing things like this, forget about it. If you're not doing 7 days a week of exercise and really ramping up your incidental and sticking to a really low calorie diet, forget about losing a kilo a week. It's very, very difficult to do that. And if you are losing a kilo a week, it's probably fluid if you're not doing this output here. It's probably just fluid, and you're going to put it back on when you start eating properly again. Don't get me wrong, we have had clients over the years that have stuck to this over a full year and, you know, lost 50 kilos in 50 weeks. It can happen. It's something very difficult to do, and we take our hat off to those people that can do it. But you shouldn't put that sort of pressure on yourselves. Slower is better when it comes to this, as long as it's consistent. You don't want it to be inconsistent and you lose, you know, 300 grams one week and then nothing the next 2. It needs to be consistent. So yeah, everything in moderation here. Consistency is the key. Back to the video. So half a kilo a week is really good. Like, that is something which we should all be aiming for. But as you can see here, we're 1,200 calories to stick to consistently for an extended period of time is not easy to do. That is not easy to do. 3 sessions a week of exercise, yeah, that's pretty standard. I think that's pretty manageable, and not doing too much of incidental activity throughout the week is probably what most of us do. We could always do more, and we'll talk about soon what effect that has if we do more. But let's adjust the calories in first, because most of us don't stick to 1,200 calories. We try our best, but most of the time it doesn't happen, especially on Saturday and Sunday. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to pretend that I'm going to have a blowout weekend, and it's not that hard to do, to consume 3,500 calories on a Saturday. And it's not that hard to do when you're hungover and all you want is fast food or whatever it might be on a Sunday, and we're lazy, and we do another day of 3,500 calories on Sunday as well. So now, have a look at this, guys. we're so strict through the week, right? Monday through to Friday, we are so strict, having 1200 calories. Our exercises stay the same, our incidental and metabolism has stayed the same, and all of a sudden, that 3,500 calories deficit that we had before is not a negative anymore, it's a positive of 1,100, which means that those calories that we haven't burnt up because we're in a positive have got to go somewhere. They get stored, and now we're putting on weight. It might not be a lot, but 0.16 of a kilo over time, that adds up. Then we decide, actually, I can't stick to this anymore. These 1200 calorie days are just killing me. I'm going to up it a little bit to 1500 on my Monday through to Friday. And I'm still going to have my blowout weekends on Saturday, Sunday. Look at our calories go. We're in more of a positive, 2,800. We're getting towards the territory of putting on half a kilo a week. This is not that hard to do, guys. Weight loss is not an easy process. It requires consistency. That is what it's all about. If you do it for a week or two, like we did before with 1,200 calories every day, that's not sustainable for very long. You've got to do it consistently. Now, let me show you how we do it consistently. Let's go back to 1,200 calories through our calories in every day. Back to our half a kilo a week, right? Now, I would say that for me, as this female who's 45 years old, I've got kids, I don't have much time to myself, but I will prepare what I need to prepare, and I will allow myself the extra couple of 100 calories extra to consume. So I'm going to go and have a diet of 1,500 calories. That's a bit more manageable for me. Now, 1,500 calories, if you stick to that, also still not that easy to do, but we're only 200 grams down. Over time, that adds up. But what we need to do here, we can't do much else besides for that. That is pushing our limits here, and that's fine. But what we need to do then is to move more. If you can't eat less, that's okay, but it's not good enough to only do 3 movement sessions a week, especially if your job is sedentary. So let's say we decide to do a bit more activity throughout the day, so incidental activity, and we park 10 minutes away from work and we walk in and we do all different things to get our bodies moving, and that goes up to, let's say, 1,700 calories every day. So just an extra 150 calories a day. That's all we're doing. It's not that much, and that's for each day of the week. Bang, all of a sudden we're creeping back up towards that half a kilo mark. And then we decide we're feeling pretty good. We're going to do an extra session on a Saturday morning at Body Embrace, so another 350 calories. Awesome. 0.4 of a kilo a week. Brilliant. You can't ask for much more than that. And that is, it's steady, and you can maintain that because that is pretty easy to maintain. You're satisfied with your food, even though you're being strict. Your movement is fine, and your exercise, you're happy with those 4 sessions a week. Maybe every now and then it will go back down to 3, but that's fine too. So let's delete that one. Then we decide, we've been going for a while, and now we're starting to lose a bit of hope. And once again, we have those blowout weekends, 3,500. Even if we have one day of a blowout, we're now in a deficit of 0.08 of a kilo. It's negligible. We may as well just assume that we're going to stay the same weight and not lose anything. I just wanted to really show you how sensitive this weight loss process is. It requires consistency, and it requires you to be good for an extended period of time. The weight loss itself is slow and should be slow. We're not, if you're going for quick results, by the time you've done your 6 weeks of that crazy dieting and crazy exercise, you're burning out, and you're going back to your 2,000 calories a day every day because you just can't be bothered anymore. And your exercise is probably going to suffer as well. You stop attending your sessions and you're putting on weight again. All of a sudden, from losing, you've done really well for 6 weeks and you've lost your 3 kilos because it's half a kilo a week. And then all of a sudden now you can't be bothered anymore, and you start to put that weight back on. And you're in the same position as where you started, and that's just not good enough. It needs to be a journey. It needs to be lifestyle change. It needs to be able to be maintained for the rest of your life. That's how you should go into these programs thinking. And we always start people off with 2 sessions, 3 sessions of exercise, and you want to build on that. And especially if your lifestyle is sedentary, you want to make sure that you're doing more movement, because it helps. It really makes a big difference. You need to find that balance for yourself, and when you have blowout weekends or blowout days and you're not consistent and you haven't prepared your food, it all makes a massive difference in the end. So if you have one of those days every couple of weeks, so be it. I do. It happens to all of us, but it's when it's happening a couple of times a week and you miss your exercise sessions a couple of times a week and you haven't prepared your food on a Wednesday, so Thursday you end up having takeout and you blow out. It's sensitive. You've got to be very, very careful about what you're doing each day, because little things all add up to big things in the end. Sorry folks, I just watched that video back again and realized that I forgot to include what I said I would, which was the afterburn effect and what high intensity interval training does for your metabolism and what sort of effect it has on it. So back to our example here. So we've got our 3 days a week of exercise, body embrace exercise. Now, we know that the harder we work, the more calories we're going to burn post-session, because our bodies need to restore and recover and replenish, and that requires energy. Now, we also know that depending on how hard we've worked, we can burn the same amount of calories that we burnt in our session for up to 48 hours later. So in other words, let's say we do a session of 350 calories. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, we're likely to burn another 350 calories just because our bodies are trying to restore and replenish and recover our bodies back to resting state. So let's call that now an increase in metabolism of 350 calories for Monday. So that takes us to, what's that, 2050. And for Wednesday is the same, 2050. And for Friday is the same, 2050. Look at that. It's gone from negative 0.19 to negative 0.34. So we've almost doubled what we would have otherwise lost, just because our calories that we burnt through exercise have come from high intensity exercise and not just 350 calories from walking. If that was the case, we'd go straight back down to our 0.9 loss, because by the end of that walk, the body has pretty much recovered itself within minutes. It doesn't take 24, 48 hours to recover from that sort of thing. So that's the part that the afterburn plays in the weight loss process. It really does add up. We just use it as a bonus, so we don't really even consider it in our equations. It's just a bonus because everybody's different and it's hard to measure. But just know, the harder you work, the more calories you will burn because of that effort. I hope that makes a bit of sense, guys. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. Thank you for watching. See you guys soon.